Elaine Jennings is here. She, of course, is an attorney here in Ocala, and she does this show, which is called Legal Lane, so that you can have some questions about the law answered. If it's something you're concerned about, obviously it's serious for you. We have a good time with Vanessa, and you are a fun lady, Vanessa. Good morning, Vanessa.
Good morning.
But we don't want our having fun stop you from asking a serious question about your legal circumstances. The number is 622-9622. Good morning officially.
Good morning.
Trying to cater to the video thing here. We had a legal issue with using the song "Life in the Fast Lane," so we had to kind of get around that a little bit. It's not about using it on the radio. We're okay with that. The FCC doesn't mind that, but YouTube has a problem with some copyrighted songs, and that's one of them.
And that is one of them. So
just happens to be the one that Dan picked for you.
That's right.
Of all the songs we've picked.
Of all the songs Dan could have picked.
Sometimes we'll get a notice that says, "I'm sorry, you can't play this in all other countries." Oh, no problem. Or sometimes it'll just say, "It's a copyrighted work. Just please acknowledge that you know it is." Okay, we acknowledge. In this case, it says, "Nope, we're taking the whole audio file off of there."
That's right.
So, anyway, how have you been?
I've been very well. How have you been?
Good. Is your week affected by your work? In other words, is your own time, Vanessa time, is it affected by?
What's Vanessa time? Not really sure.
You don't have much Vanessa time?
No.
Oh, really?
No, but that's okay. That happens at times.
Yeah.
So I would say yes and no to answer your question. I don't allow it to affect me, but sometimes it just runs over and it takes up my personal time. So that would be the only effect. But when I'm with friends or when I'm doing whatever I'm doing, it's all on the side.
There's so many legal things. Every day in the news there's something. Did you happen to see this story? Robin Williams puts Disney in a quandary. Can I just read the first paragraph and get your feedback from it? Robin Williams' innovative will locked down the use of his image for 25 years, and as a result, the Times of London says that Disney has abandoned plans to make a fourth installment of the blockbuster Aladdin animated film in which Williams played the genie. So let me just scoot down to a further part in the story so that I don't take up all your time reading the story. It says that Williams had a beef with Disney while he was alive. In 1993, he said that Disney had agreed not to use his voice to market Aladdin merchandise and then reneged on that agreement. He said, quote, "We had a deal. The one thing I said was, I will do the voice. I'm doing it basically because I want to be part of this animation tradition. I want something for my children. My one deal is I just don't want to sell anything, as in Burger King, as in toys, as in stuff," unquote. But Disney ended up doing just that. So when he says his likeness can't be used, he means his face and his voice.
Correct.
Interesting, huh?
That is.
What are your thoughts on that?
I don't disagree with him, but that's only because that's your person. That's your privacy. In this world where everything is less and less private, there's certain things that you want to hold dear. And it's a little bit harder when you're a celebrity, because when you're a celebrity, you're in a special category when it comes to the use of your likeness and your image and your voice. You're in its own special category of celebrity. Mm-hmm. It's not the everyday person. But I could understand at the end, your life's ended, and now for your family's sake, you're no longer a celebrity in your world because you're no longer in the world.
Okay, right.
So you don't want it used because who's going to be affected but your family?
So they
don't need to hear the voice or see the image of their dad when they're
What is your take on the meaning of that, though? Does that mean that they can't reproduce the videos anymore, or just because each one of those he entered a contract to do that work?
Correct.
So I'm guessing those things are still okay.
Those would be fine. There would be new.
It's just using something that was already used and applying it in a different way.
Correct. So if they had his voice with the genie, anytime they would play that now on a new whatever new medium it is, that wouldn't be allowed. But they can't recall all the.
Because it says he had left so many sound clips that they never used that I guess they were intending to use them even though he was no longer here.
Because they could just use it all together to probably make a whole new movie.
Right. Interesting. It's probably not the kind of thing that normally happens, though, right?
That's not an everyday occurrence.
So if we aim the camera out this window here and took video of the passersby, Do we have to blur out all their faces? Is that the law?
Well, they're in the public domain. They're at the mall.
Oh, so if you're outdoors, you're allowing yourself to be filmed.
Right, because when you step outside the threshold of your house and you're outside in the public domain, you're presuming that people are going to see you. They can take your photograph, that they're going to interact with you. That's why if someone takes a video of you while you're, like if I took a video of someone who was standing in the parking lot right now, they necessarily couldn't come after me and say, you violated my privacy, because they have no expectation of privacy when they're standing in a public parking lot.
So when we see videos like the one that came out the other day of the deputies, do you know what I'm talking about?
I do not.
With this one guy? Okay, well, long story short, in 2014, the deputies were chasing a guy named, I can't remember his name, but anyway. So anyway, then finally he surrenders, and the deputies finally catch up to him, and when they do, they kick him. And there was 5 deputies who all have said they were guilty, all have faced punishment, and one, I guess, now will face more punishment. But the video was released Wednesday, so now everybody's talking about it, even though it's a year and a half old. Right,
but that would have been a little bit different, only because that video would have been probably used in part of some type of police investigation.
There was 2. There was one from a surveillance camera on the property, because it was like a commercial property, and then there was the video from the uniform cam, whatever the deputy was wearing.
The Bodycams.
Bodycam, thank you. Yeah, so we had two things to look at. Was pretty damning evidence, huh?
I love Bodycams. They're my favorite. I'm so glad we use them now.
Oh, I'm glad you're glad, because I think the same way. I mean, it protects everybody.
Absolutely. It protects the officer on one hand from anyone coming back and saying you used too much force, you shouldn't have done what you did, and on the other hand, it protects my clients when they say way too much force was used. I never resisted, or I never did that, or I never.
How hard is it to get that video?
It's not. It's the state's obligation to get it.
Oh, really? So you just ask for it and they have to give it to you?
Yep. We make a demand for discovery, and it's turned over.
So when you were a prosecuting attorney, is that what you were down in Miami?
Prosecutor. Yep.
Okay, so they would come to you and ask for that stuff, and then did you always just give it up?
Well, Miami has very specific rules for their office. So before we would file, we would interview the police officer, and we would find out what they had. Was there a 911 tape? Was there any video? And at that point in time, it was our obligation, once we found out, per our office and statute, to go ahead and turn everything over. So we turned it over even before sometimes the defense attorney asked for it.
Do we, to change subject a little bit, do we in Florida have a no-fault divorce law in place, or no?
Yes, Florida's a no-fault divorce.
So you don't have to prove that there's a reason. You just say, I want a divorce, and the law has to say, okay?
That you're not going to get back together, that it is irretrievably broken, is all you have to claim. It's one sentence.
Really?
Yep.
And so is that something, like, for example, there was just an ad earlier about getting like an LLC through this $15 form or something like that. Can you do a $15 form for a divorce?
Well, no, nothing in legal is that cheap. They do have places that do affordable divorces, and there's doc prep companies. And one of my friends owns a doc prep company. And
what was it called?
Document preparation company.
Oh, doc prep. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
And what you would do is you would go. Her name is Nanette, and you would go to her, and she would fill out all of the different forms for you. That's if there's no contestation, everyone knows exactly what's going on, no kids, no fighting. Just make it nice and easy, and you could do it. But then you're still paying your filing fees, which are going to be in the 400s, and then you're still paying to have that done, which will be somewhere right around 200.
We are up against the first break, so let's take a break. Remember, the phone lines are open if you'd like to speak to Vanessa about a legal situation that you have a question about, whether it's something you're personally going through or somebody you know or care about. Give us a call. 622-9622 is the number. We will take a little break and be right back.
This is Kendall Carpenter, Director of Operations with Golden Ocala Golf and Equestrian Club. I am proud to announce we will be hosting the Coates Golf Championship, presented by R&L Carriers, here the first week of February. This championship will feature the world's best LPGA players, including world number 1 Lydia Ko. Come and experience women's professional golf at its finest. The championship week starts February 1st and ends with the final round on February 6th. Join me to see the very best in golf at Golden Ocala Golf and Equestrian Club.
At Ameris Bank, we understand that there is no purchase more exciting than the purchase of a new home. We are dedicated to helping you find the mortgage that meets your needs and giving you the personal attention you deserve. Our mortgage options offer a variety of benefits, including up to 100% financing, down payment assistance, and expansive credit qualifications, all with the competitive rates and exceptional service. Call Ameris Bank today or visit amerisbank.com to learn more. We look forward to serving you.
Ameris Bank is an equal housing lender and member of FDIC, a loan subject to credit approval.
The Women's Veterans Health Fair will be happening on Saturday, February 20th from 10 a.m. until 2 p.m. at the Ocala VA Clinic at the Cascades Office Complex at 1515 East Silver Springs Boulevard right here in Ocala. The Women's Veterans Health Fair. Don't miss it. If you'd like more information, give a call to 352-369-3320. That's 369-3320 for the Women's Veterans Health Fair at the Ocala VA Clinic in the Cascades, February 20th from 10 a.m. till 2 p.m.
For some, Valentine's Day means flowers and candy. Not for us.
Join us for the Valentine's Day Massacre, February 13th at the Southeastern Livestock Pavilion.
For 7 scheduled bouts of live professional boxing entertainment. Each bout is highlighted with local boxers.
So come out and support the future boxing in Ocala. First bout starts at 7 and doors open at 6.
Proceeds to benefit the Boys and Girls Club. Tickets start at only $15.
Get your tickets at Central Florida Boxing, 1032 Southwest 1st Avenue, or call 352-292-2103.
What are the most common questions those nearing retirement are asking? Will I outlive my money? Retirement questions like these and many more will be answered every Saturday morning at 9 a.m. on Planning for a Better and Safer Retirement with hosts Francois and Julian Pozenet. Francois and Julian will help you put your retirement puzzle together. Catch Planning for a Better and Safer Retirement Saturdays at 9 a.m. on Ocala's News Talk, The Source 96.3 FM and 1370 AM.
All right, 12 minutes before 11 o'clock. Thank you for tuning in. Vanessa Lane Jennings is in the studio to answer your legal questions. Legal Lane is the show. Vanessa, if we're not doing a radio show, which is most of the time with you, so there's 1.5 hour short of a week that we're not with you. So where do we call the rest of the time?
The rest of the time, you would call the Jennings Law Firm at 352-804-0092 or email me directly at Lane, Lane, at jenningslaw.net.
All right. Do you like fielding these kind of questions? Just kind of being on a panel like this?
Absolutely.
You do.
It's fun
and
exciting. Keeps me on my toes.
You've been doing this for a long time, obviously.
Since 2007.
We kind of covered this the first show, but I just wanted to establish that for the new listeners. And you grew up in Ocala, though.
I did. I
right?
went to Blessed Trinity and then Forest High School before I went off to UF. So
you're Catholic?
Ocalian. I am.
Do you know
most days.
We were talking about this yesterday. We were asking what is just a side note, not really legal of nature.
Okay.
But we were wondering, what's the difference between a cathedral and a church? Well, there's actually a literal definition, according to the church. We looked it up on Wikipedia.
Oh, so gotta love Wikipedia.
A cathedral is the seat of the local bishop, which is the only place that I guess the Pope would go if he visited a diocese. And we are in the Orlando diocese. So I said, well, where's the cathedral for us? Where's our? And I thought, well, maybe it's Queen of Peace. It is in Orlando. Right. It's called St. James. Have you ever heard of this church?
I have heard of St. James, yes.
Okay, so that's the cathedral for us. If you wanted to go to our cathedral, that's it.
I believe we played him in volleyball one year.
You played him in volleyball?
Nice.
Oh, really?
So. I believe that's the same one. I could be completely wrong.
You beat the home church?
Probably so. We had a really good volleyball team the years that I was on it.
Did you really?
We did, yes.
Now, all of your credentials and everything that you do, you seem to run the gamut of everybody that you try to defend. That has to be a little bit confusing sometimes because what works for one type of case might not work for the other type.
Oh, that is 100% true. Because what works for one judge doesn't work for another judge. What works for one prosecutor doesn't work for another prosecutor. Or even if you have in divorce, when you get opposing counsel, each one of those is exactly different. You have to kind of learn what their style is. So just because you get the same fact pattern over and over and over again, it doesn't mean you're going to get the same result. So now we have different fact patterns, different characters, and parts of the whole puzzle that you kind of have to see the whole picture, which is fun and exciting. That gives you a different way to plan.
Do you know, I went through a divorce. And I want to tell you about it a
Okay.
little bit. It's just a long, long time ago, 25 years maybe, something like that. Okay. So she, my wife, wanted the divorce. I didn't. And so because I didn't, like if I said, yes, I do, then it would have been smooth sailing. But because I didn't, I made it rough waters for everybody. Not that I was trying to be a hardhead, but I was like, oh, come on, let's work this out. I know I'm a knucklehead, but I can straighten out. I knew that I wasn't blaming anybody but me. But still, the legal process kind of put the brakes on it. You can't get divorced. You got to go through some kind of counseling then. And I remember that those counseling sessions was kind of my wake-up call that, I'm beating a dead horse or whatever the expression would be. Yeah.
That's interesting because they don't do that anymore.
They don't?
Now, if
they
you
don't?
No.
So if one person contests it, you don't do any of that? You lose?
Yeah, you get divorced. I've had cases where
Really?
the other person, they saw the writing on the wall and they knew they were getting divorced, but they would prefer to have gone to counseling or something.
Oh, so
The
you
other party
can't.
said no.
So
we're not doing it.
your wife can't say I want a divorce, and you can say, well, let's tell the judge I don't want it right now. He'll say, I'm sorry. If she wants it, you're it. You're done.
Yep, it's irretrievably broken.
Really?
They'd have to,
I'm glad marriages aren't that way. Imagine that. I want to marry you. Not me. Well, sorry. Sorry, you're married.
So if one person files for a divorce and the other person doesn't want it, and the person that's filing has an attorney, does the other one need to get one, or can you talk to your case in front of the judge on that particular day?
You could be it's called being pro se, which means you represent yourself, and you're allowed to represent yourself through the entire process. The judge will normally tell you multiple times, depending on how many times you're in front of the judge, because sometimes you can only go one or two times for a case management conference, and then also for the final hearing. But during those times, they'll say, there's an opposing counsel over there. They know the law. We're going to presume that you know the law. So if they object to something that you're trying to enter into evidence, or they're going to object to something that you're trying to say because it doesn't uphold, it's not part of the rules of evidence. You didn't do it properly, because there's ways that everything has to be said and ways that everything has to be done. We're going to presume that you know it, just like this lawyer over here. So maybe you want to go get a lawyer.
Oh my gosh.
So they say it like that. And there's
scary.
still times when, I just had this week a hearing, it's called a final hearing, not a trial, in a divorce case, and the other side was unrepresented. So, every time that I would object and would get sustained, she would have to figure out how to get it in, and sometimes she couldn't because there's a trick, and she just didn't know that one little trick that they teach you in law school, but they don't teach
The average person wouldn't know it.
average person how to do it.
Yeah.
She was missing saying one thing.
So you were representing him.
Yes, I was representing him.
Oh, wow.
Well, good for you, because men seem to get the short end of the stick these days. So I'm really glad that you are sticking up for the man.
I would say more of my clients are men than not. And I'm okay with that. I think that we're slowly in the state of Florida getting to a point where men are getting as much time with their children as the women are. Because traditionally it was 70-30 in Marion County. It was called the Marion County Standard. And they were going to get 30% of the time unless you were able to prove that they deserved more. And that's not how they would have said it, but that's essentially what was happening. And I don't like that.
No.
I think that for the child's sake, because that's the standard. The standard is what is in the child's best interest.
Right, yeah.
Well, I think, unless you can prove that it's not in the child's best interest, 50-50 should be the standard.
Exactly.
Yeah, why not? I mean, as long as everybody's, a good parent. I mean,
because dad's
bottom line, yeah. What about pets? Do pets ever become a point of, custody? Does that ever happen? I want the dog. Or I don't want the dog. I want you to have the dog.
Yeah, right.
Does that ever happen?
Well, the pets are property in the state of Florida, so that would fall under the divorce, and who gets the pet. It's not treated necessarily like a child's, but you can figure out who gets the pet if there's fighting. I've never had one person fight over a pet yet.
No.
Really?
Yeah, there's pretty clear that yes, the dog loves you more. You may take the dog.
Oh, okay. That's excellent.
The attorney that my wife had at that time said to the judge, in trying to convince him that I was probably not suitable, there was nothing about me that was unsuitable except for maybe the fact that I didn't make much money. And so she said to him, and I never forget it, Your Honor, he works in radio. And I thought, oh my God.
Yeah.
What does that mean? Am I some kind of a criminal
job.
because I have a job in radio? I'll never forget it. It's like one of those things you just don't forget, right?
It's ingrained.
It's like, hello.
I would find them more entertaining if I was the judge. I'm like, well, that's entertaining that he's exciting. Are you sure you want to divorce this person? Maybe you should go think about it.
How do you keep your personal life and your business life separate, because you must run in all of these circles where you are sort of friends with the judge and the opposing counsel and things like that?
My time is my time, and so I try not to talk about work because I respect their time. So I try to keep it very, very separate. Sometimes, especially if it's a judge, it's for me it's a little awkward. I just don't want there to be any impropriety on that. I don't want anyone to ever say, "Oh."
So where do you hang out? If I was your client, where would I bump into you? Starbucks?
Yes.
I would bump into you in Starbucks. So I sit down with you. I say, "Hey, Vanessa," and do you say, "Don't talk about the case, anything about the case," right?
No, I would not do that. I would go into work mode at that point in time.
Oh no.
For a second.
I thought
if you're a client, if you're not you personally,
right.
but if you were a client,
I
would go into work mode, because I've been at Target and I've run into clients. Go to the grocery store, run into clients.
Then you go into work mode.
Store. I do, because they're going to want to ask a question about their case. Oh. Because there's that line. That
but what
just
other
doesn't
things
exist.
do you like to talk about? Do you like to talk about music or
the
movies or
music?
Sports?
Not really sports.
Not sports. Not even volleyball.
No. No. Anything and everything. Fashion.
Oh, really?
The weather, beer, wine.
Oh, there you go.
Bloody Marys.
I can't talk about fashion a whole lot.
That's okay.
I have no idea. I don't even know what I'm wearing right now. I think it's a white shirt, right? Yep.
But when you're out there personally at a function like a fundraiser or something with the judges and things like that, you have to still have that wall. But you have to not
There's
be
a little bit of a
business.
Wall there. There's a little bit of a wall where you're not business, but if it's a fundraiser, that's normally is business mode for me, because you're going out there and marketing.
Oh, yeah.
Do
you know who we run into a lot? Judge McCune. He's a really nice guy, by the way.
He is a very nice guy.
And he runs.
He does run.
He runs.
I used to live in his neighborhood.
We walk. He runs. We're last. He's first. You see the picture here?
Yeah.
We show up at a fundraising event where walking and running is involved.
Yes.
We're last.
That's okay. I would be right there with you. I would be right there.
Finally, somebody's with us. Yeah. 5K? No problem. Give me 5 hours. I'll do 5K.
If someone were to hire you as an attorney, you have a really awesome personality about you and a great way.
I try. Try to be personable.
When there's a child custody case, do you meet the children?
Most times I end up meeting the children, just as a function of they'll be dropping off paperwork, or they'll coming by to sign something really quick, and the child will come with them. I try not to have the kids come into the office, because I would view that as quasi-traumatic if I was a child.
Oh, yeah.
Like, why are we going here? Why are we talking to this scary redheaded lady? Don't talk to her. How would you want to do that? No.
Scary redheaded lady.
I know. Well, children have very,
St. Patrick's Day is coming up. We got some Irish songs in our repertoire.
Yeah, we do.
I'm excited about that. Are you going to do that at First Friday Art Walk?
Probably, yeah.
Yeah.
Probably,
Okay.
Yeah.
I might have to stop by.
Do you know what that's called? Do you know what that's called, by the way?
Yeah, but you're going to tell me.
Everybody calls it the Irish jig. It's actually called the Irish washerwoman.
Yeah.
Irish washerwoman.
Yes.
Say that a couple times fast.
All right. I know we have a problem with the music being copyrighted, so I'm going to end without the music. Thank you so much, Vanessa. Always a joy to talk to you.
Always.
And your number?
It is 352-804-0092.
Okay. We'll take a break. We'll be right back. This is WOCA Ocala.
Fox News Radio. I'm Lilia. Just days before the Iowa caucuses, GOP presidential candidates making their closing push at last night's Fox News debate, which frontrunner Donald Trump skipped.